What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Twink Revolution. I'm Sam.
And I'm Gian. And we're joined by a very special guest. We're joined by the best gay Twitter shitposter in the universe, Gnome Chomskyy.
Oh, you guys are being so sweet to me. I'm Gnome Chomskyy at Gnome Chomskyy with 2 Y's.
Yes, yeah, that's an important detail.
What was it like writing manufacturing consent?
Yeah, I really loved...
Wait, sorry, can you ask that again? Sorry.
We love your work on linguistics, and tell us about your tenure as an MIT professor. Like what?
Okay, so clearly I'm not the real Gnome Chomskyy, but I don't know. It's kind of been like a funny thing for me. I started my account during the pandemic, just fresh off like the trail of the Bernie campaign, and that's how I got my name. I wasn't thinking much of it, and it just kind of stuck. So that's kind of like been the story behind my username, and I'm keeping it because I think it's cute.
It is cute. No, no, I hope you don't mind me saying, I can't help but notice, despite the fact that you're the best gay shit poster on the internet, you're not yourself a gay man. What's going on?
No, I'm not a gay man. I'm actually an Asian woman.
No, I noticed that. And but how did you get so goddamn good at gay shit posting? You're better than all the fucking gay boys who think they're all out there doing bits all day and you just breeze past them all.
Well, this is kind of going to be like, we're kind of going into like my account lore. So it's kind of weird, but I think I kind of like trained my wheels a bit because I spent a lot of time in the RuPaul's Drag Race like forums back in the day. And I don't know. I think like that is my favorite like reality show. I don't really watch any other reality shows. So I guess like that's kind of like, I'm not really doing it on purpose or anything, but that's kind of where I grew up with like my personal my internet culture. So that's kind of I don't know.
Well, and you've got all like 12,000 followers or something. So clearly people like appreciate what you're doing, but you also bring in the haters. But like our haters usually like want us to be deferential to whatever their version of justice is or whatever. What is the concession that your haters are trying to extract from you?
I guess like with my account, I try not to like the fun of my account. I guess I try to not reveal too much about myself. I like to keep things ambiguous, I guess. It's kind of, it is like, irony is a cloak in a way for me, but I think like, I like to like push the boundaries with my jokes. Not to get too deep.
Well, yeah, no, you certainly do.
Like, I think, I don't know, like to me, that's what comedy is about, right? It's always about pushing boundaries and trying to see like, okay, like what's okay, like what's going on in the world. And I don't know, like, especially how contentious like the news cycles are and, political discourse can get on Twitter. I feel it's a good way to get people to like train their minds to think in different ways, and I try to like challenge people on that a little bit.
It is an art, and I think it's a lost art. It's like I don't mean to wax poetic here, but it's truly like great shitposting is the only interesting art in 2021. There's nothing else left to us. Everything else has been sort of turned into a perfectly packaged commodity, and yet sort of nobody can sort of stop a dedicated woman with a Twitter account from just wreaking havoc.
I feel like with the internet, there's been a lot of stuff going on with the suppression of speech, especially on this platform, right? And if we try to observe like what the comedy scene is kind of like these days with, I guess the corporatization of everything just, like all the stuff like comedy specials we see on TV, for some reason they just lack a certain kind of charm or something, like the je ne sais quoi of it or something.
Yeah.
It's very hard to make things funny when you're always trying to cover your bases. Like, okay, like, will this person get mad, or who's gonna get angry about this, and like, is this transphobic or racist or sexist? And
well, the answer is no, and that's why it's not funny.
It's very hard to make things funny when you're constantly trying to police yourself and all that. But I think the artful part of it, I think, is actually always trying to dance the line between like, okay, what's appropriate and what's not. That's kind of like, it's weird to say, but the philosophy of my account. I just try to have fun with it and try not to think too much, I guess. Well, like, I don't want to be like controlled by all these forces. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you certainly sort of, you associate with some sort of like vaguely kind of like left Twitter accounts and things like that. Is there an overt political message lurking beneath your mean shit posting, or is it do you regard yourself as separately a political person? I mean, we're just giving the fans what they want.
I mean, it is a lot of fan service, I will say that. But I guess like not everyone really knows the background of my account. I mean, my name, Gnome Chomskyy, it's kind of a signal that, okay, like, this is like a vaguely left person. But I try not to. Are you also funded by the CIA? I guess that's kind of like my end game, right? Like, I'm a CCP agent trying to infect the masses with like a communist propaganda or whatever. But I don't know, like, I will say that I will consider myself a leftist. Yes, like, I do consider myself a Marxist, but I don't know. I'm not trying to say I have any noble political project on Twitter per se, but I do think that, like, bridging, just like, I think people have more in common than they do like disagree, and it's kind of funny because I think I'm like a fervently anti-woke account, but people from all over the political spectrum, like, they find appeal in what I have to say, and I think it's because I'm a little bit of an equal opportunity, like, joker. I'll make fun of like everyone, I guess, and I think people feel kind of like that.
Yeah.
You don't, like, if you keep like a little bit of mystery with things and just like try to have fun, like, I think people will have fun too.
Yeah. Kind of going off of that, like, last week there was a huge Twitter purge, which seems to happen more and more frequently, and I think people thought they lost you, actually, but you were just taking a break, thank goodness. But it really shows there's not a sense of like humor or irony. I mean, I remember when I was banned, it was over a Mean Girls quote, and they were like, "You're a violent and aggressive person." I finally heard back after almost 5 months of being banned. They were like, "Oh, you're a threat to people on this app, or you're never getting your app back." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wait, you did get banned too? I did remember. And it was just. I remember it was so ridiculous because it's like, why would anyone want you to be bad? Like, what kind of problems are you making with people? Like, I don't know.
He's dangerous.
So, like,
we all know.
Too many turtleneck selfies.
Yeah, the truth.
But kind of going into that, like, how do you toe your line where you can be, kind of risque enough where you push the boundaries, but you don't get banned? Because, like, it seems like more and more people just get banned for sillier and sillier stuff.
I mean, it is definitely, like, it is getting a little more difficult, right? Because, like, with the, like, terms of service constantly changing with Twitter, and, we're starting to see, like, the commercialization of the platform.
Oh yeah, are you gonna have super followers?
Yeah, the super follower stuff and the fleet stuff. Like I think yes, I do think there is definitely a free speech culture war, a little bit of that going on. Especially, I think like we're hot off the tails with the Trump election, but I think like everyone's kind of online these days, and social media is more important and pervasive than ever. And they're going to try to do everything to like clamp down on things and also like make some like bucks off it too. Well, I think that's what's underlying that.
I was thinking maybe we could just like together, the three of us, we could like workshop a few Twitter approved jokes.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I was just thinking like, we got to come up with a topic like airplane travel. So like, I'll go first. Maybe we can get some punch ups in here. But I think, what's the deal with airline food? I find it. Oh my God. I think it's ableist, and it's actually dangerous and unacceptable. And I will await, United Airlines' response at United Airlines. See, killer, nailed it. What do you got, Sam?
Oh, I don't know.
No, okay, no, Gnome. Any punch ups on my, for just Twitter approved jokes?
Well, first of all, you kind of stole my line. What's the deal with airline food?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jerry Seinfeld. That's an antique, but
yeah. I think like that, that is kind of like an essential like component to posting, though. Like you want to clue people into, I guess like pop culture and things happening, right? And I think like when people get the joke, like I think it just like pops off like that, like.
All right, so maybe I think we can get a Sopranos reference into an airline joke, but still not violate the Twitter terms of service.
Okay, wait, hold. Sopranos. What's the deal with cunnilingus in psychiatry?
Can you say that on Twitter these days? Can you say cunnilingus on Twitter? I don't think you can.
Well, I think, the tyranny of the females, is inducing things for us to be okay to talk about pussy eating, but eventually we're probably not allowed to talk about dick sucking.
Well, that's misogynistic, so.
Three guys walk into a bar. They do not suck each other's dicks because that would be misogynistic and doing literal violence. Good. Well,
can I make an assumption? I'm assuming you're not a Zoomer. I'm assuming you're a millennial because you have the humor of like the height of like online culture, which I don't see in Zoomer presences, or like get it later after like being corrupted by like the older Twitter handles, the olds.
Well, I'm a cusper, so I don't really know like what I am exactly.
Declare an allegiance.
I'm a cusper too. I'm like right on the edge of like millennial and Zoomer.
We're like bisexuals. We're racing by generational people.
You have to pick a side.
Yeah, no, exactly.
No, but it is like kind of weird though, because there's always like a Zoomer and millennial, like the never-ending generation beef, if you will, and I see that happening a lot, and I don't even know like where to place myself on that spectrum, because I identify with both. Like I don't know, like I get the doomer thing with the Zoomers, but like you say, I guess I'm more of like a millennial when it comes to like the references of my jokes. So
yeah, you post like a millennial in that you're mean and problematic.
Non-binary, but in regards to generations.
Speaking of mean shitposters whose fortunes have not gone as well as yours have. Milo Yiannopoulos. Maybe like I feel like maybe you're the picture in his attic that's just been getting sort of younger and more beautiful as his star has faded as a gay shitposter troll, and yours has risen. Did you steal Milo's career?
I I prefer, I don't know. I also hope I did, now he's straight, so there's no gay person at the mantle to ship him straight.
Yeah, wait, so I don't know if everybody saw this, but Milo, wait, Sam, you actually read the thing. What the fuck happened?
So Milo Yiannopoulos came out and said he is ex-gay and hopes over the next decade to become a conversion therapy advocate. But also he is maintaining his marriage to his husband, who he said is just basically a houseboy at this point, but he's still expensive to take care of because he needs a lot of Versace and shit. So I think he just returning to the roots of pre-gay identities. I don't know, still having sex with all the men, but pretending you're a straight man in the world. He's very Greek, very
There's something to respect in that, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I personally, I smell a stunt from the jump. And you can't be Milo Yiannopoulos and be straight.
Game recognized game.
I mean, I don't think you really need to be gay to recognize it. I mean, he is the flaming Nazi homo,
the dangerous faggot,
Nazi homo. Exactly.
Oh, also, wait, you never say faggot on main.
Oh, I try not to.
No, because you will get banned for that. But you're in the dangerous podcast world, and you've got a pass. You just you pick any time in the next 45 minutes or so, and you just drop it in there in the most clanging way possible, please.
Okay, I dropped a faggot bomb.
Well, that's just reported speech. Do something shocking. Yeah. Just call Sam a faggot. I do it all the time.
No, but I always wonder though, am I allowed to say that? Because
you've done more for the gay community than most of these fucking homos have. So
we once gave it to Amy Therese the privilege, and she turned down the offer.
Well, no, she said she would put it in her attic with her N-word pass.
In an Australian accent.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it faggot in my Canadian accent.
Yeah. Wow. Doxing. Nobody knew you were Canadian before this, but now they know.
No. Now the secret's out.
Yeah. It's 20 people in Canada. You could be any one of them.
I'm the one mean Canadian.
She has to be careful now. She might get arrested for saying faggot because of Trudeau leadership.
Yeah.
The Canadian Gestapo is going to get to me.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a question, the way you sort of talk about your art implies that, your goal is comedy. And that would perhaps be a route of parlaying kind of internet fame into a career. Ever thought about pursuing a career in comedy? I only ask because the usual way to do it these days is to start an OnlyFans. And if you don't mind me saying so, you're hot. So which way, Western woman? Are you starting an OnlyFans or a online sort of comedy career, or SoundCloud rapper? That's your choices.
Well, I do say OnlyFans is my plan Z. I mean, even though my goal is comedy, I can't lie. I do post pictures and selfies, to feel good about myself. And, I need some attention too in that respect. But, and with the OnlyFans stuff, I don't know. I guess the only reason why I'm not doing it is because, there's a part of me.
Love yourself?
My dignity. I'm not sure if I want to put myself out there in that way, Wow,
I think you just came down on the millennial versus Zoomer debate there of having just honestly having that believing you're still entitled to dignity is very millennial.
Why it's a plan Z, plan Zoomer.
Plan Zoomer, but it's not really making me any money or dividends. So sometimes I really do think is my dignity really that worth it? Is it really worth it down? I could be thriving or something, but I don't want to commodify myself in that respect.
Do it all the other ways, like everyone else has to.
I think I undignify myself a lot on Twitter already, so OnlyFans is going to be a little too much.
Well, I mean, we did force you to watch a documentary.
Yeah, we made you watch the Hulu documentary OnlyFans Selling Sexy, which I think we can all agree is just a giant 1 hour promo for OnlyFans. Like,
yeah, it was like a propaganda movie.
Yeah. So maybe I can give a quick just summary for those who haven't had the pleasure of watching this Hulu masterpiece. So it's a full hour. It's shot sometime in 2020, and you can sort of tell because of the masks. And it follows basically a number of fairly successful OnlyFans performers. There are no sort of no-hoper accounts in there. They're all doing pretty well. And there's like sort of a gay guy, a straight guy who does a lot of like muscle work. There's with
a man bun.
Yeah, horrible man bun.
I thought he was gay.
There's like a sort of full-figured black woman whose mother quit her job to manage her OnlyFans career full-time. We can talk about that. And who else is in
Mechanic
there?
girl.
Oh yeah,
mechanic girl.
Yeah, hot mechanic girl who's like
forcing her boyfriend to have sex with her on camera.
Yeah, and I think that's the cast of characters, and it's just a full hour of them being like, there are no. Oh yes, and a MILF. Thank you. And then it's a full hour of them basically saying there are no downsides, and everything has gone really well for me. Gnome, how did you like this documentary?
I do have a lot of pushback on the documentary. First of all, it didn't need to be an hour long. I will say that. It was definitely, it
only took me 90 seconds to jerk off to it, so I don't know why it was a full hour, honestly.
You just needed a still. You didn't need to watch anything. But it was, to me, it came across as total like a puff piece propaganda. And, I mean, I will say this. I do think OnlyFans with the pandemic and, the economic restructuring of like, I guess, our society, it is kind of like the gig work version of sex work, right? Like straight up, like, the whole documentary, like you get the sense that, they were like trying to like really put it in your face that, you're a hustler, you are your own like girl boss, all that stuff, and you can take your destiny in your own hands. And like, I don't think it really, I don't think it like confronts the actual reality of, like sex work. And even like not to say like there's a real versus unreal sex work. I mean, there is a spectrum, but it doesn't really confront the reality that, okay, like, there are like, several thousand other people who are also at the bottom of this like OnlyFans pyramid scheme. And, you're only being shown in a documentary, like the success stories.
Well, yeah, there's one woman who did lose her. I think the mechanic girl lost her job, but she sort of proudly boasts the fact that she was already making more money from OnlyFans than from her day job. So like that's the one harm presented, right? Sam, what did you think?
Well, I think for one, we need to talk about the editing process of the film because they reused multiple clips like 3 or 4 times in the film where they would just like literally say the same sound bite from the same person in the same order. And I'm like, are we rewatching it from the beginning? Like,
well, going back to the point, it didn't need to be an hour.
It's like
they had a few talking heads, like a sex and relationships counselor guy, and who else?
They
like
had
some
Nikki,
media, like a Wired
who's the
journalist.
comedian that you hated? Nikki
Glaser, whatever.
She was horrible.
Yeah, she was awful, being all like, I spend $10 trillion a month on jerking off on OnlyFans, and I'm a good person for it.
She's like, I only pay for my porn. It's like, you're being really stupid. Then. Like,
she's just very proud of being a cougar.
And there's the black comedian who does this like podcast on OnlyFans. I'm like, you're not a sex worker. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
yes, the guy who's, I can't remember his name. It's claim to fame is he was like played a bit part on the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, or perhaps what I did learn something from the documentary. And I mean, not just that how much I hate man buns, but also that OnlyFans was clearly tapping some people to kind of come onto the platform. And they referenced the Bella Thorne stunt, where like it's implied that, you know, it was implied that some people were mad about it, but they shouldn't have been, because OnlyFans corporate was very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. I did notice there was like a weird, I mean, the whole film was like a puff piece for OnlyFans, right? But you know, they glamorized it to the point where it was just uncanny and almost unreal. Like there wasn't really any effort to put into the documentary to, you know, make it seem like, you know, this is the actual living reality of, like, you know, even like the normal OnlyFans girl. It just painted this, you know, this picture that, okay, like this is like the hot new thing and everyone is like doing it. And I'm not sure if, like, you know, like that kind of message is really that encouraging, even if they like don't even try to implicitly imply it. It's, you know, like that doc in itself, it was like, it's so like bombastically like corporatized and like advertisery, but it just be like it's hard not to have like negative like associations when you're watching it.
Yeah, they didn't include anyone who had a bad experience on there, which is like, for one, that's not how you do journalism. Right? They'd also like, they kept referring it to like as sex work, which I think nowadays just means anything that's like slightly sexy. Like Kim Kardashian would become a sex worker because she had like one sex thing. Like every celebrity is a sex worker at this point. But they also kept saying it was empowering and giving you more choice than like typical porn. It's like, maybe that is true. Like, but there's also a dark side of like, you are the commodity still, like you're selling yourself for like relationships and stuff. And they basically, I think they cut out a lot of the negatives and overshadowed it with like positives. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like like funded by the OnlyFans like billionaire guy who's like had his start, I think, decided into the cami and website business.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I thought it was interesting that a lot of the people featured as OnlyFans performers in this had previously had like traditional porn careers. And so if you kind of think about like, these are people who had already perhaps paid the cost, either socially, financially, emotionally, whatever, of like the stigma of being a porn actor, saying, gee, OnlyFans is much better for me, and I make more money and I have more control over my content, et cetera, which is like, yeah, that's all true, but I mean, it would be a little bit like, I don't know, like, can you imagine making a version of this documentary about like Uber drivers or something? like, because it's kind of what it is. And it's if you like only went and interviewed 5 people who had bought Teslas based on their like Uber driving or something, like it's a bizarre piece of documentary filmmaking aside from the subject matter.
Mm-hmm. I do think like there is a irony to the documentary, right? And you know, OnlyFans in general, because you know, we get to see like the sanitized like corporate version of like what they want to see, but and you know, there's, you know, even on Twitter we can see a lot of people like trying to, I guess, legitimize like, you know, like an OnlyFans career, for instance, and it's kind of ironic to me because like, even though they try to make it seem like, okay, like, you know, like everyone's kind of doing it these days and it's fine and it's like the social norm, they still have to bring in like pornographic actresses to kind of legitimize the whole operation. And you know, you have to wonder like, okay, like why are they like doing it in this way? Like, why are they highlighting specifically pornographic actors? And maybe like, I think the truth of the matter is that like, you know, you're probably not gonna like succeed on this platform if you didn't have this sort of background. And it is like selling you a dream and a lie.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I guess like just being you know, at home a lot and scrolling, like doom scrolling TikTok and shit, I found it hard to reconcile this sort of, this like happy, oh, my beautiful ring light, you know, stills I do of my, you know, bodybuilding with like seeing every like 18-year-old gay boy on TikTok like take 3 weeks before they're like, well, I guess the only path available to me forever, you know, like having a life is to go start an OnlyFans and start like plugging it on Twitter and TikTok or whatever. I'm like, that's sad. That is sad. If that's the height of aspiration, if you are a young person, then like something's gone terribly wrong.
I was going through TikTok, I think it was like a few weeks ago. And like, you know, the main story where like they like keep showing you like endless content that's trending. It was like this 17-year-old like bot, like gay boy, me like literally saying like, oh, if when I turn 18 in a few months, who would subscribe if I created an OnlyFans? And literally I clicked on the comments and it was just full of men. And I'm like, how is this not like predatory? Like, and no one's talking about that because if you critique that, that's problematic. But we're going to like talk about grown adults like Glenn Greenwald and stuff having like fully consensual adult relationships. It's like the paradox. It's like
the real grooming is when you marry someone and don't put it on camera.
The film feels like a recruitment video. It's like it's like mass grooming because porn studios aren't going to do this. It's going to be like OnlyFans telling everyone who's like down on their luck, oh well, you can make money by being like having sex videos and being naked and being hot. I'm like, most people are not in shape enough to be on OnlyFans. Like the man on there, like the man bun guy, like his body was like 0% body fat. Like he was a model.
He's a model.
Yeah,
that guy was like legit. He looked like a bodybuilding competitor.
Right.
I think like he kind of was.
Yeah.
He also was a douchebag.
Show dick. No, I'm just kidding.
Put your dick on the phone. But like, I think like this like speaks like there's a grim reality to underlying all of this that you know with the restructuring of our economy and all this stuff, like the gig economy and social media are like, you know, like one of the few ways that people can like young people, you know, can make it nowadays, right? And you know, they are definitely like playing into that.
Yeah,
I mean, they proudly emblazon in sort of, you know, serious white text on black background that OnlyFans has paid out over $2 billion to creators, you know, since its inception or whatever. All while taking a 20% cut, I should add. That there's just something so grim about the dream being sold and being sold to people for whom like your options are work a dead end job if you can even get one, or like show hole on the internet. And that's like, you know, and the fact that rather than being confronted with these choices, you know, no hate for people who choose to show hole in the internet if that's the option, the best option available to them. But like, rather than sort of rebelling or raging against the fact that these are the alternatives presented, we're doing a puff piece. We're doing a PR campaign for, look, just, you know, this is a digital pimp service that you can get ahead maybe if you're one of the lucky, you know, top 1.7% of OnlyFans creators or whatever. It
also feels like it's like the export of like gay liberalism into like the mass society, because I feel like in the gay community for so long, it's much more normal to know at least one or two people who've actually done porn. And now it's like, but like it was still a taboo from like straight men and like women, especially women. And now it's like everyone can be a porn star. Like with the inclusion, that's kind of seeped into society. And it's like, this is normal. It's like, no, it was bad when the gays were doing it. And now it's bad that everyone else is doing it too. Like,
Do we have it? I mean, so they also play very heavily, yet going back to Sam's point about the editing just being shocking in this. They recycle the same clip of everyone being like, when Beyonce said OnlyFans, that meant it had arrived. It was now legitimate. Over and over again, they're sort of suggesting that like this mainstream acceptance was based on like saying OnlyFans in a song or something.
Yeah, and I don't know, like that's why it really wasn't. It didn't have any effort of bringing any sort of like realism to the documentary. So when I was watching it, I was just marked by the impression that these people just they don't really like care to sanitize it. And but also the other thing is like you know, like they know like the negative publicity of even like, you know, not even like caring to even like make it not look like a puff piece. Like that grabs attention right now. Like that grabs attention these days.
Right. At least like the Epstein documentary, which was clearly funded by the Clintons, pretended to be like an actual investigative piece. Like this was just like because like with the Beyonce stuff,
look,
they were like,
Bill just went to the island for lunch. Like lots of people turned up for lunch.
With the Beyonce thing, they're like, oh, a bunch of girls probably signed up, and I'm like, why are you saying it like a good thing? Like that's horrible. Like Beyonce's audience is like a lot of young girls, like and gays.
Well, I wouldn't want to be mistaken for sort of being anti people showing their bodies either. Right. I mean, like I think I was saying actually on the live stream with Esperanza and Mila the other day that like there's a very sort of natural human voyeuristic impulse. It's very understandable. I think what crossed over in this for me was that they kind of very breezily sort of talked about the parasocial aspect of their like. Oh, yeah. There's the MILF woman, the MILF character in this documentary. Her part of her thing is she, you know, sells her used lingerie and stuff, and like, but she also raffles off like a boyfriend for a week experience where she'll shower some lucky man with attention and affection. And there's tens of thousands of people who pay, you know, $17 a month or whatever for this woman's content, and then those for whom this like boyfriend experience thing is the pinnacle of their sad fucking lives. Do you think? I mean, yeah, I know I was left just like horrified by the parasocial aspects, not the porn aspect. It's the like that people think that they are getting inside the lives of other people and that these people are their friends or care about them or love them. Good fucking God.
I think like I mean, to me, that's the most like insidious part about this whole thing. Like they are selling you a dream, and like, you know, they introduce like, you know, this older woman, you know, who is like kind of living her best life, and like she's getting money and getting paid for being a hot older woman, which is, you know, like not necessarily like celebrated, I guess.
My career plan.
She's living the dream, right? So, and you know, like they try to mask this whole like OnlyFans phenomenon as like a liberation movement, that like, oh, like women can be finally like free from the patriarchal bullshit or whatever, and all that stuff. And like, I think that's probably the worst part of it all.
Yeah. Also, I think we should all talk about the issue of porn stars having the worst plastic surgery. Like, because like if you look at her, like she is very beautiful. Like I think she's a very pretty woman, but like her lip, like fillers and stuff, just like very like not like there's a lot of poorly done stuff.
Look,
like,
it's 2020. It's been very rough on everyone's faces. Have you seen my hair lately?
Yeah, but it's just like there's just this kind of like, why does everyone look like they're like about to be in the movie Alien? Like,
I think they were trying to make it, you know, you know, believable in a way. You know, like you don't want like I don't know, like Instagram model on this documentary necessarily. Mm-hmm. Like you need like, you know, like a woman that people can kind of relate to, I guess.
Well, it's there's the car mechanic woman gets like double D's during the course of the documentary. She's like talking about how that will up her earnings potential. And I, you know, my first thought was, wow, I wonder if that works for podcast Patreons too. And then my second thought was like, they like, even if you were making sort of just a run of the mill like plastic surgery documentary, you wouldn't do that quite so gleefully. It also had a cameo appearance from her plastic surgeon, who's doing a like clearly an OnlyFans stinger for her while she's like coming out of anesthesia on the table, and her like boyfriend is holding the camera, and the surgeon in full scrubs is all like, yeah, so we got the 400 milliliters in there. That's the standard silicone treatment, and she's gonna look fire. I'm like, sir, you are 56 years old and run a medical practice. Please don't say that. You are undermining the value of the medical profession in general. But yeah, sorry, to the extent that like, if you were just making a documentary about a woman that got a boob job, you couldn't do it as gleefully as this documentary just threw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think like they try to like make it like as big of a spectacle as they can. Like any like publicity is good publicity, even if it's negative. And if you, I don't know, apparently bad boob jobs and terrible plastic surgery drives people. I mean, Dolly Parton did. What did Dolly Parton say? It takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
Yes.
She also briefly said after, so she's like, I kind of regret doing it because she didn't, well, because they kind of skim over the fact like a boob job's like extremely like taxing on the body. I think it takes like 6 months to like fully heal and stuff, and it's like those are giant boobs. Like,
well, and honestly, the surgeon is being all like, well, so we're still comfortable going to the D. You know, a lot of women on the day, they'll just say, no, I want to go even bigger. And like that, honestly, that would have made a better hour-length documentary if they'd merely focused on that one comment. I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, now I want to know. Like that would, but you've just glossed over in this like influencer style. It's interesting you mentioned Instagram, because like OnlyFans and Instagram are inextricably linked, right? I mean, they're kind of two sides of the same coin. And I follow you on Instagram, and you follow me. I can't help but notice it. Proudly one of my proud followers. You know, and you'll thought out when you're feeling yourself on your story, and yet again look good.
Thank you.
My compliments to the chef. But like it's different in character, right? And yet the aesthetics of this documentary as it presents OnlyFans is sort of like, well, it's just Instagram where, yeah, these people are just feeling empowered and good about themselves. And then they do special requests for 8 hours a day of like, can I see a normal picture of your pussy from the front and a normal picture of you? Like,
so I think like there is kind of like a reason why they are like doing it in that way. I think there's like an economic reality facing like a lot of young women and young men that, you know, like it's not enough to, you know, work these jobs to pay the bills. Like, you know, you have, or you need like several different hustles. That's how they try to frame it, as you're kind of like your girl boss and you're like hustling and all that. And I think like Instagram, without Instagram, there would not be an OnlyFans. I think like I remember like in the first few days, like, or first years of Instagram, you know, like it was just kind of like another social media app, and we kind of saw like, you know, progressively it got corporatized and, you know, monetized, and now like we can't escape Instagram anywhere. Like you go to any like small business or a restaurant, and they need an Instagram to, you know, like market, you know, their business. Like it's an essential component to like our everyday lives, and we're constantly putting our like ourselves and our images online to be scrutinized. And yeah, it's like the commodification of the body and all that. Like it's become a daily reality for everyday people, not just OnlyFans girls, you know?
Yeah. They also have that like slight tiny part of like the scrutiny they get as OnlyFans people. But I feel like just having known people who like have been in the kind of sex industry or porn or whatever, they still make it seem not that bad. It's more like, oh, just some personal disapproval. But like, I know like one person who went into porn like when they were turned like 18, and they're from the Wisconsin area, and every single gay person knows that they do porn now. And it's like, oh, well, that's gonna have a huge ramification, like your life forever. And this kind of makes it seem like it's just a few like disapproving like people versus like something that can really fuck your life up.
Can we maybe to close this out? I would like to talk about, so there's the woman who's full figured, does a threesome during the documentary, her first threesome, and her mother quit her job to become her full-time OnlyFans manager.
They call her Kris Jenner.
Yeah. And, I'm just trying to think, like, I've been broke as shit in my life. Like I've really just had no money, and like, you know, scratching under couch cushions to buy a bag of potatoes, kind of poor. Like, there's no time during any of that when I was like, okay, I'm going to start a porn career. Certainly that crossed my mind. But I'm going to start a porn career, and I'm going to get my mother to manage it. That's how do we feel about that part?
Well, you can't really like talk about any of this like OnlyFans, Instagram stuff without like, you know, going to the progenitor, which is Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner. And that's kind of been like for the entire like 2010s. I think like, you know, the Kardashians have kind of they really like, sad to say, infected like our entire like culture, right? And you know, it just goes back to the thing where you know, the Kardashians really capitalized on the idea of any negative publicity or any kind of publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, she also says the daughter, like, she's like, I've always wanted to be like social media famous. I just never thought it would be this way. And I'm like,
how do you think that would be?
I feel like of all the people in it, the one who has the clearest head is like the douchebag with like the man punks. He's like, I have a line, I will not cross it. Well, like everyone else, like,
he doesn't do full nude. He will not put his dick on the phone.
But everyone else just keeps pushing the boundaries because that's how you make a lot of money. And she's like, oh, I haven't done this, so I'm gonna get money from this. And it's like,
well, and she's making $150,000 a year or something. And like
you're not the Kardashians. Like the Kardashians were already rich, and whatever, like their whole brand was like being chaotic Armenian woman in like LA. Like, well,
and we, you know, I think we've clearly established they are America's royal family, but I'm not familiar enough with their lore. Have they ever done a messy sit down tell all interview with Oprah?
I don't really think that.
Well, then get on it. I mean, I feel like America is sort of you know, as Oprah as America's therapist needs to sit down with America's royal family and do a bit of a bitch fest. I was going to put you on the spot, Gnome.
Oh, yes.
So I just opened my drafts folder on Twitter.
Oh no.
Care to open yours?
So I will say, since I deactivated, a lot of my drafts are gone, but I do have some.
Some. I'm not going to ask you to tell all. I mean, this is not OnlyFans. People have to go subscribe to the OnlyFans to get the real content.
Right. Also, I guess like I also wanted to bring up like another thing with OnlyFans. Like with all like the porn stars and celebrities on there, especially the ones that like they highlighted in the documentary. A lot of them don't even post nude photos. A lot of them just post like just like promos and like their photo shoot stuff. And it kind of like cheating? Completely lost. It is flexing. It is cheating. Like it's not what like, you know, what people have to do to really like, you know, climb to the top, if you will.
Climb on top. To get ahead. No, it's a good point. Yeah, because I think at least two of the people featured, there's the comedian guy who does his like podcast comedy on OnlyFans, and the man bun bodybuilder guy do not do sexually explicit content.
Well, they mentioned Bella Thorne and like Cardi B as well, and they also. And I was like, actually, when I heard that Cardi B was on there, I thought she was dropping it because like Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf, he does post naked pictures on Instagram.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's on OnlyFans.
I'm back in. Sorry, I was down on this whole OnlyFans thing. And now I'm back in.
But I think because he came out as pansexual like a month or two ago.
Bro,
I
you
think
can't
he's doing like
pan.
content like that as well. So like, it's always the gay men and like the down franchise women. It's not like the wealthy people. Like, I mean, who's gonna pay money to like watch behind the scenes videos of like Cardi B when you can just watch the music video for free?
Well,
like
sad losers. That's the target audience. I don't know. Have you ever subscribed to an OnlyFans?
No, I haven't.
I subscribed to one once.
Are we naming names?
Yeah, no. Well, I'll tell you the backstory, and it's sadder. It's sadder than just like being horny, because I wasn't. One of our biggest haters from earlier on started a sad OnlyFans, and it was a power move. It was a power move.
Oh my
God. I decided to subscribe to the OnlyFans.
Yeah. To be fair, we were very drunk on like a Zoom call at the height of it, and it was like, wouldn't that be funny? And it's like, oh, this is so sad.
It was sad. It was sad, and I felt bad almost immediately because, like, even though the title of biggest hater is a hard fought title around here, and yet I did it, and I was immediately ashamed.
Well, you know what they say, like when you're like talking to an audience, they say like, imagine the audience naked.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, imagine if you imagine your haters naked, it's kind of, a similar thing.
Well, I think when I felt immediately sad was when it was very clear he was being exploited by like older men who are like, oh, I'm a photographer in scare quotes. And like that's what he was posting. I was like, oh God, this person's life is very sad, and I actually feel bad now. Like I'm not like I'm a total mess, but my life is like more together than being taken in by that scam.
I guess that's the public service message. If anyone asks you if you want to be photographed, run.
Yeah.
Run. Well, all the people in this documentary were all taking their own photographs with their ring lights. So I think the public service message is to get a ring light instead of letting a creepy older man who's a quote unquote photographer just take your tasteful nudes. I'm sure they won't cross any boundaries.
If like that's all you see on like Instagram is like at least for gay men is like, oh, this like clearly clad like gay man who's like sleeping with all these models and taking pictures of them. It's like, oh, that's great, that's beautiful. Like they take great pictures, like they know the body, but it's like
I'm buying a camera.
But like you can also find someone to take pictures who's not going to force you to have sex with them. Like
right, yeah. The price of professional modeling shots is like less than $100. You do not have to have sex with the photographer. That's a Twink Rev pro tip.
Yeah, a life hack.
Yeah.
Or you become a photographer yourself.
Exactly.
That's the other asshole.
Yeah, you can actually subscribe to the Twink Revolution photography subscription service called Twonly Fans. Yeah.
You guys are looking for interns?
Yeah. Any final thoughts on this wonderful Hulu production or OnlyFans in general?
It was bad. It was like OnlyFans should be like shut down for how bad of a documentary feature this was.
I just I wish they didn't round themselves at a documentary. It should just be an hour-long advertisement.
Yeah,
that's my
if
thought.
It's on YouTube, I would say includes paid promotion.
Exactly.
All right.
Funded by Russian media.
All right. Well, so to close out the show, I'd like to go back to Draftomania. And this is Russian roulette.
Oh my god.
I've only got a few, and some of them are very bad. So for everyone you share, I'll share one too. There's slurs, so you know.
Okay.
All right. So what do you got? Give me your most lukewarm draft.
Okay. The best quality about the 9/11 hijackers was their punctuality, which is an asset for any employer.
That's good.
It's very funny. It's horrible.
All right. You did yours. I'll do mine. Can God create an Antifa super soldier so powerful that they can punch God for being a fascist?
I think you need to post that one though.
I don't. The
really
Antifa
good.
super soldiers like are gonna punch me.
They won't. You're private.
They can't hurt
I'm not
you.
private anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, I have to keep tomato posting.
That's true.
All right, no. Are we going for mutually assured destruction here? What else you got?
Okay. You're addicted to sex? How's 4th grade?
Fuck. All right. Well, I apologize in advance for this one. There's a reason I didn't post it. What if we started a state, but it's only for retards? We'll call it California. I was really mad at California. The slur's not okay. I know. I didn't post it.
No.
Well,
the slurs are always like a cherry on top.
yeah, no, I could have done it without the slur. I just didn't want to recraft the tweet. It was, it was in anger. I was feeling very resentful of California at the moment. Yeah, the slurs are never good, but that one, in the privacy of my own drafts.
Doesn't it feel good? Doesn't it feel freeing?
Yeah. You're cleansed. It's like the Purge, but like you've cleansed all the slurs for like the entire year.
I once got a very angry and concerned tweet because somebody who had written for the TwinkRev website had retweeted a post by somebody unaffiliated with the TwinkRev website that had a slur in it. That exact slur, in fact. So yeah, and I'm like, so there's I live in fear not of like. I live in fear of the emotional labor of dealing with the HR complaints. Honestly, it's not like there's a whole separate question there. Oh.
We really don't know how to pick a team. It's like everyone who just like pisses off for the
problematic.
Group. Yeah.
No, I heard during your week off Twitter, you were going to catch up on TwinkRev. Did you in fact do it? And you have to tell the truth.
I didn't catch up, but I did read. I did my reading.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Good. How was the reading? What were you reading?
Right now, I think you guys are going to be very, very proud of me. I think I'm
gay sex for beginners? That's so weird. That's weird.
This is the Karl Marx's Theory of History, A Defense by G.A. Cohen.
Damn, that's like some heavy shit.
Yeah.
That's a hefty tome. What? How is it? Did it give us a capsule review of how you're enjoying it so far?
I mean, it is like, I think it is a very dense like book right now. I'm kind of like still in the beginning, so it's a lot of like, epistemological kind of stuff, which it always takes me a while to get through those.
Sure.
But that's why like TwinkRev is so awesome, because you guys actually like help break it down for all of us.
Thank you. Well, I'd love to close the show with a quote from Jesus. Blessed are the shit posters, for they shall inherit the earth. And Gnome Chomskyy with 2 Y's, and that's Gnome for the record, in case you were confused about
the best Gnome
92-year-old MIT professor and linguist Noam Chomsky, N-A-O-M Chomsky, with 1 Y. That's not been our guest, and if you're confused at this point, God bless you. Your life must be interesting. No, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.